Hey everyone, so the Oscars are Sunday night, and it's looking to be a pretty crazy time. We're looking at a ceremony that didn't have musical performances, and then now it does. It's hosted by Conan O'Brien, and then it's also just like plagued with so much like weird, like kind of controversies. Like like most movies seem like they're going through something, and then the ones that seem pretty much unscathed are still not like strong contenders. So I figured, hey, everyone's going into their predictions. Why not share mine? Okay, so why not start with actor in a leading role? So we're going best actor here. We're going to try and figure out who this is going to be. I think right off the bat we can rule out Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice. That was kind of a really big like surprise. Like people were like, is he going to get it for playing Donald Trump? Um, in the Trump movie. And then it was kind of a surprise when his name was called during the nominations. But I just feel like it's a nice to be nominated kind of nomination there. I don't think he has a shot at winning at all. I think Ray Fiennes has a pretty good shot from Conclave. Um, if they're not going to go with the obvious thing, the front runner that everyone is predicting right now, I could see Ray Fiennes pulling an upset, especially if Conclave wins Best Picture, and we'll get there. Coleman Domingo, I don't know if I see him pulling an actual upset and winning in this category. It feels like every year Coleman Domingo's in something. He's great in it, and he will get the nomination, but he's not going to win. And his time is coming. There's got to be a year when he finally gets that, but I just don't think this is the year for that. Especially because Sing Sing wasn't nominated for Best Picture. I don't feel like the priority is there for that movie, unless it wins like a screenplay award or something like that. Maybe Coleman Domingo could come along with it. I don't know what the logic is for that. I don't know if that checks out. So really the race comes down to Adrian Brody versus Timothy Chalamet. The problem is Adrian Brody has been winning like everything, it feels like, in this award or in this season. Has been winning all the awards. The only hiccup that Timothy Chalamet comes in with, I feel like, is that he won SAG. Like he won the award at SAG, and so people are like, maybe Timothy Chalamet. Like I feel like he's sort of like coming in with some noise, and I feel like a lot of people do like his performance. They think it's the strongest part of A Complete Unknown, even if they didn't like the movie overall. Um, and yet with Adrian Brody, I think it's a very similar thing where they're like, he is the brutalist. He is that movie. And I think the brutalist has like more prestige and love behind it just in general. So I think Adrian Brody is going to win this as like the veteran actor who's already won. So let's give him another one, kind of a deal, and we'll make Timothy Chalamet wait a little bit. I mean, he's coming out with multiple performances every year, so he's just bound to get one at some point. Maybe not for this one. I think the argument for him winning is that this is a lead up of like 5 years that has culminated into this performance. He's been working on it for that long. He sings in it. He basically evolves from one thing into another, it feels like. And, I just feel like there is a strong case for Timothy, but I don't know if I think it's just like a little bit too late. I feel like when he's coming into the conversation, more and more, it's already after Oscar voting had closed. So, yeah, I really think this is going to be Adrian Brody. I'm voting for him, although my favorite would kind of be Timothy Chalamet. I would actually really love to see Timmy win this. Even though I did love Adrian Brody in the movie as well, I do think Timothy Chalamet gave the best performance of these five. So moving on to actor in a supporting role, there's not much conversation here. This is Kieran Culkin's win. For a long time, I had been saying, like, as he's winning awards and awards and awards, I had been saying, well, maybe Kieran Culkin isn't as tight in this, as people have been saying. Like, A Real Pain isn't a Best Picture nominee. There's so many other great performances that have been nominated here. My favorite being uh, Yura Borisov and Honora. I love that performance. That might be my favorite performance of the year. It just took me by surprise. So I would love to see him win. But really, as I thought that maybe Kieran Culkin had a bit of weakness, the momentum just kept going and kept going and kept going, and he's just won everything. So this would be the biggest like surprise like ever, or one of the biggest surprises ever if he didn't win. But his trajectory feels like Divine Joy Randolph's from last year for the holdovers. It was just her the whole time, and then she won. So that's what's going to happen with Karen Culkin. Not much more discussion needs to be there. I mean, if anyone else could compete, maybe Guy Pearce or Edward Norton. And then I feel like for some reason your Borisov is number 4, even though I feel like his performance is the best. But that's how it goes sometimes. If you're not a voter, and even if you are, if the sea is going one way, it's just going to go that way, and there's really nothing you can do about it. All right, so let's move on. This is probably the this is probably like the most 50-50 race here. It's actress in a leading role. It felt a lot closer earlier in the season when like Amelia Perez was like really, really in the spotlight, and people were like, this thing's gonna sweep, it's gonna win everything. It's gonna be like the Everything Everywhere All at Once Oppenheimer kind of thing. And yet, you saw how that went. Controversy with the movie, controversy with Carla Sofia Gascon, and so just really doesn't feel like she's gonna win it all. It feels like she's last place in this race. And then if you look at Cynthia Erivo, as amazing as she was in that movie, for some reason it just feels like you know she's not nominated. I don't know, or she's nominated, but she's not in like the conversation as potentially going to win. Even though a lot of people love that performance, I think maybe they might be waiting for part 2. I don't know. I don't know how that logic pans out. I know a lot of people say that they might be waiting for part 2. But maybe they're just like, there's stronger performances here. I don't know. I think she's one of the best performances of the year. But if you look at it, it's a race. It's a two-woman race with a a third woman, like maybe like peeking in, kind of a deal. And I think it's a race between Mikey Madison and Demi Moore. Um, and the problem everyone seems to be having, and myself as well, is that Demi Moore had been winning so many different awards, I'm not someone who has a lot of the stats in my head right now. And I don't have them in front of me either. So I just know that Demi Moore had been winning a lot of awards up until Mikey Madison won BAFTA. And a lot of people are like, well, BAFTA, like Mikey Madison's not British. Why would they give her specifically the role or the award? Especially when they gave Conclave Best Film. So it just kind of really feels like maybe there is a large swath of the Academy that really loves Mikey Madison's performance. And even though Demi Moore had won a lot, including like SAG and stuff like that, um, up until that point, I feel like BAFTA is something that's hard to ignore. So people are really like, if Honora wins Best Picture and gets like a few other awards, is Mikey Madison going to win as well? Because she is Honora. She is the film. So how are you going to give Honora the movie an award and then not give Honora the character or the actress who plays Honora the award? And the fact that a lot of people who love The Substance, myself included, are really vocal about how great The Substance is and how great Demi Moore is in The Substance. But I feel like there's a lot of people who aren't as well. So I feel like, because The Substance has virtually no shot to win Best Picture. Um, I don't know if the narrative of Demi Moore, she's a veteran, she's never won, she's back in like Ghost days when Ghost was nominated for Best Picture, she was snubbed for that Oscar and stuff like that. So like this is a great, especially with the what the substance is about, how Hollywood and like the world at large doesn't value women as they age. You always want like the young ingenue, and like once someone reaches a certain age, it's kind of like thrown to the side, kind of a deal. So I feel like because that movie is also so there's a lot of like conversation about, or there's a really good point about why Demi, like the narrative, why Demi would win this award. And I feel like that is very strong. But I also feel like Mikey Madison's being Honora and winning Best Picture, winning Best Actress is also a great conversation. I mean, we look at last year, Lily Gladstone was like like a big favorite to win Best Actress last year, and yet she wasn't all she wasn't in Killers of the Flower Moon that much. Like she was kind of like in like a I mean, she was persistent through it, but it didn't feel like she was like the big main character who was in like every scene. And then, what happened? Emma Stone went on to win Best Actress at the Oscars. Um, so doesn't always feel like narrative is the thing is the selling point. Maybe for some people, but maybe not for all. So it's a very 50-50 thing. And some people are wondering also if they split, like if a lot of people are going Demi Moore, a lot of people are going Mikey Madison, and they split, maybe Fernanda Torres could have a very vocal like support as well, and maybe she can squeak out that win. I don't know. I think all three actresses are great in their movies, almost equally so. My favorite would probably be Mikey Madison. I just think she it was so surprising in that role. Whereas like Demi Moore, like she shares the screen a lot of the time with Margaret Qualley, almost like it's a two, like they're both leading kind of a deal. So it's like, well, who's the better one? Are they're both great? So that's a thing. Whereas Mikey Madison has no one to compete with, in her own movie. So I'd give it to Mikey Madison. I think she should win. But who knows? That's a game time decision. That we'll find that out like right when they pull out the card, because no one knows. So you have to go to Best Supporting Actress now. This one's pretty much going to be Zoe Saldana. She's been immune to all of the Emilia Perez controversy. People were like, "Is she going to be taken down with them?" Just like you know uh, Carla was, and the movie was, and the director was. Um, but really, no. I feel like people are still like, well, she gave a great performance in that movie, despite how you feel about that movie as a whole. And she's not problematic like Carla Sophia Gascon is. With all those tweets and stuff like that. So I feel like Zoe Saldana, people are just still very respected, and she's just gonna win. She's been winning everything. Um, this is a really great field. Despite Isabella Rossellini, I think she's a fantastic actress. I don't feel like she like really did that much in Conclave, if I'm being honest. I know some people are like, well, it's a very subtle kind of thing, but really it's just kind of non-existent for me. I just didn't really feel like I feel like she was just kind of there. She was reacting to things and stuff, and she wasn't like bad or anything. But it wasn't like a part where I'm like, that's the best supporting actress right there. So for me, I understand there's a narrative behind it, and it's like she's never won, stuff like that, but I don't feel like that's really what the point of the award is. It's like, what's the best performance? For me, it's Ariana Grande. I'd give it to Ariana Grande Butera immediately. She was the best because I loved Wicked, and she gave that performance that just made me laugh. So many emotions with it. She just like the way, and this goes for Cynthia Erivo too. The way they just sang live during the recording, that's just like amazing. It's just great. Um, I also love Monica Barbaro. Felicity Jones is fantastic. So I would love to see any of those women win. Ariana Grande is my favorite, but Zoe Saldana is winning this, and I do think Zoe Saldana was great in the movie, so I'm not that mad at it. But I would love to see Ariana Grande pull an upset. That would be amazing. All right, so we'll move on to go a little bit away from the acting awards, and let's go to animated feature film. This one, this one is sort of a lock, except a lot of people are thinking that maybe it's not as locky as they think. Lock being an award that people are like, yeah, that's definitely winning. Like the confidence level on this is so high that we're just saying that it's locked in there. Um, and with that, The Wild Robot is that movie where it's like it's been winning everything. It hasn't won like every single thing. There's some critics groups and whatnot that have awarded Flow, and so that's the kind of upset. People are like, is that going to pull an upset? Is that going to be like a Boy and Heron kind of situation? Whereas Boy and Heron is the Boy and the Heron is more like that's supposedly Hayao Miyazaki's last film, um, swan song kind of a thing. So like feel like that had to win, even though a lot of people loved Spider Verse across the Spider Verse, um, and yet I don't see the Flow upsetting the Wild Robot happening. I feel like the Wild Robot's kind of like the Encanto or some sort of like Pixar movie that's really big that's going to win. Speaking of Pixar, Inside Out 2 I don't think has a shot. It won a lot of money, and then it won a lot of money. It made a lot of money, and then it was nominated for this award, and I feel like that's the win for that. Memoir of a Snail is fantastic. I don't you normally love adult animation, but I think that one was very, very, very deep. I really liked it. I don't think that is a shot. And I love Wallace and Gromit. I love Aardman, Nick Park, and all that. And I thought Vengeance Most Foul was incredible. I thought it was so fun, just one of the best things ever. But it also doesn't have a shot. It won BAFTA, but that's because it's British, kind of a deal. I mean, they love it, and it's British, so it's not saying just because it's British that it won, but you know, it's not winning anywhere else. So, it's not going to win here either. So it's really down to the Wild Robot and Flow. But I think the Wild Robot has it in the bag, but Flow could pull an upset. I could see that happening, but I don't think it's gonna. All right, we'll move on to best cinematography. Um, this one's interesting because there's just like so much great cinematography here. Um, I feel like a lot of people would say Emilia Perez should not have been nominated. I feel like it was just shot in a really interesting way. So honestly, I'm not mad at it being nominated, but I do realize there's a lot of different one movies that could have been nominated. Like I think Wicked would have been really really cool nomination for cinematography. I realize that a lot of people will probably disagree with that. There's just a whole you know thing with that movie that some people just don't love, which is fine. But yeah, so I could see it. I haven't seen Maria. I heard it shot really well. I love like how Spencer was shot and stuff. So the same director. So I feel like Maria probably has earned it. It's Ed Lackman who won for what El El Conde, I think it was called, which was like people are like, "What is that movie?" But hey, it looks great. But I don't think Maria's gonna win. Nosferatu, Robert Eggers is known for like brilliant cinematography and just like making his period piece horror films just like look super accurate and realistic and all that. Um, Authentic and whatnot, and it's just like looks so good. Um, and then you have Greg Fraser doing Dune Part Two, and that movie looks spectacular. Like I don't think you can see a better looking like science fiction film. Yet I think it's going to be The Brutalist, and I'm extremely happy about that because the Brutalist is amazing. The Brutalist looks amazing. Just like its technicals, it's so impressive that it was like made for like $9 or $10 million, and it looks like this brilliant, like epic, period piece film. And yeah, the cinematography, the way it used VistaVision cameras to give it that like old school kind of look, like those cameras weren't used since like the 60s or something. Um, and so Lowell Crowley really, really upped the game, I think, for this. It's very impressive work. I love the look of The Brutalist, and I think it's going to win, and that would be my favorite to win as well. With the slight, I would also love to see Dune Part 2 win, but there can only be one. So we'll go to costume design and then production design, because I think the one movie is going to win both of those. I think for costume design, I think Wicked's going to win. Costumes are amazing. Just like all the students at the school, Galinda, Elphaba, all just look fantastic. Everyone's looking fantastic in that movie. Costumes are just brilliant. Whisking you into this like fantastical world. You have others like Conclave. They got the robes. They made it them all look like they're actual popes. Gladiator 2, you got the gladiator type clothing and stuff. I'm sure I haven't seen it, but I'm sure that's a worthy nomination. Nosferatu, of course, period piece. It's gonna have great costumes to make it you feel like you're in that period. And then a complete unknown. That one is interesting. It's also a period piece, so it's like from that time, and also the green polka dot shirts and other things that Bob wore and whatnot. So yeah, I totally see why that was also nominated. But yeah, I think Wicked's definitely winning that one. I think that's pretty much a lock. And then if we go to production design, a lot of great stuff here. You got Conclave. They made it look like they were actually in the Vatican, which is insane. I thought they were until I learned that they just built that set. The Brutalist, that's like, it's about architecture, so it's about production design. It's about designing stuff. So that one should totally would be a worthy winner. Dune Part 2, epic sci-fi, building a whole world. Did it in the first one, they did it in this one, exceeded it, the best. Nosferatu, yeah, you're back in that time, right? So a period piece, they have to build that time and make you feel like you're there. But Wicked is definitely winning this one as well. If you look into some videos about what they did in Wicked, planting like 9 million poppies in a field, building like these real, like huge architecture, like architectural like buildings that are just like multiple functions, and actually building these things to make it like fully real. And you know uh building that big train that they jump on, and building that big wizard head. It's just like, dude, Wicked just crushed the production design. It looks so good. It makes you really feel like you're there. All right, if we're looking at documentary feature film, um I feel like it's between two movies, No Other Land and Porcelain War. More on that in a second. Black Box Diaries, I haven't seen, but I've heard it's very affecting. I definitely want to see it. I don't feel like that's winning. Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat. I haven't heard too much about that one. I don't even know what it's about. Um, but I don't think that's winning either. And then Sugarcane, feel like I've heard about what that's about too, but I also don't think that's winning. I really need to see some of these documentaries. I have seen No Other Land. I thought that was great. And Porcelain War, I heard, was pretty good, but like already kind of like too close to the what is 20 the Mariupol movie, uh, that like about Ukraine. Um, and yet No Other Land, I think, is just very relevant to today with Gaza and what's going on over there, and just showing a small part of it, but a very important part of that conflict. And the fact that it's controversial, I think it shows that it's kind of important. It's something that people should at least pay attention to and look at, whether or not you agree or disagree with the points that they make in the film. I think you should definitely check it out just to see for yourself. Um, but I think maybe people are thinking that there could be controversy if it wins at the Oscars. But I mean, they nominated it, so I don't know. Just give it the award if it's the best one. That's all I'm saying. Porcelain War I haven't seen. I've heard it's good, like I said. But that one might. I don't even know if it would be an upset. I think Porcelain War could be the favorite now. I'm not really sure, to be honest. But I would give it to No Other Land, but I think Porcelain War might win this, or it could be No Other Land. I'm really not sure. And then we go to international feature film. With that one, I mean, it's a two-man race. It feels like you have I'm Still Here and Amelia Perez. Um, I don't feel like, I mean, unless Flo is a secret favorite and can somehow win like animated and international, I just don't feel like that's kind of like a thing. Um, a lot of people love that movie, but really, I think it's down to Amelia Perez and I'm Still Here. The Seed of the Sacred Fig and The Girl with the Needle are like happy to be nominated movies. Um, and so when it comes down to these two, it's really interesting because Amelia Perez was just like the favorite for a while until the controversy. And then I'm Still Here came out and, got a Best Picture nomination as well. So, I mean, I feel like it's got to be one of the two that got into Best Picture as well. So when I'm looking at it, it's like, is has the controversy affected Amelia Perez so much that I'm Still Here doesn't win, or is I'm Still Here the favorite alternative because it's not super controversial? It happens to also be really good, and have a lot of like really like passionate support behind it. Um, because yeah, a lot of people just love that movie, especially from the home country, Brazil. And a lot of people love seeing Brazilians champion that movie and trying to get it as many like award wins as possible. So I think I'm Still Here is going to pull it out. Unless, unless just somehow Amelia Perez pulls that upset. I guess it would be an upset here. And we can move on to makeup and hairstyling. That one is it's just going to be The Substance, and I'm suspicious whether The Substance is only going to get makeup and hairstyling. I've already talked about Demi Moore and how I think it's going to be Mikey Madison, so it could get two. I don't think it's going to get any more than that, but I think it's just going to get one, and it's basically a lock here in makeup and hairstyling. Um, all the other categories I think are really good though. A Different Man, like, had a lot of has a lot of makeup, for Sebastian Stan in that. Amelia Perez has makeup for Carla Sofia Gascon in that movie. Nosferatu, of course, you have the complete transformation of Bill Skarsgård. And then Wicked, you have the makeup on Cynthia Erivo. You have like the tattoo cover up. You have just a lot of stuff like that. It's just really impressive. But The Substance is just on a whole other level for makeup. For original score, I'm pretty sure that's just going to be The Brutalist. The other movies, the other scores on here, I think are really great as well. I know a lot of people get down on Wicked because it's not like original, but it is. It's like one of those where it's like John Powell basically had to watch the movie without sound or without music accompaniment at all, not having seen the original musical or original stage show either, and ended up just creating his own thing based on like how the how he how the emotions were in each scene and stuff like that. So he really did create like his own score to accompany a lot of the Steven Schwartz music as well. So I feel like, people are mad that like Dune 2 didn't get in there and Wicked did, but I feel like it's kind of a different situation, although they're both kind of adapting prior stuff as well as creating new stuff as well. So Dune 2 is just a snub in that category. Wild Robot has a fantastic score, really beautiful. Conclave is really memorable as well. Amelia Perez, it's also a musical, so a lot of great music in that, in my opinion, at least. But The Brutalist is just has this like incredible, like inspiring score that just makes everything feel so epic, and I just can't get it out of my head. It's truly incredible, and it's going to win that award. With original song, people are trying to like say like, well, maybe Amelia Perez, since it's not, favorited here anymore. Is going to lose song. Maybe they'll throw a bone to Elton John, or Sing Sing, or Diane Warren, who's always nominated but never wins, kind of a deal. Um, I think all of those are, make sense, but El Mal just has been the favorite for such a long time that it just doesn't really feel like it's losing. I don't think there's really a good case for it not, other than its movie not being liked, but I don't think the song's really affected by that. Like, so it's Zoe Saldana's song, even though Carlos Sofia's Gaston sings in it as well. It's mainly Zoe Saldana's song, and she's gonna win Best Supporting Actress. So I think her song's gonna win too. Although my pick would be Mi Camino, because I like that one the most. Although I also like El Mal and some of the other ones too. I don't think it's a great year for original songs just in general. I feel like there's a lot that were left on the table, like Kiss the Sky and Harper and Will Go West from Will and Harper. It's kind of a sad slate of nominees, I think. You look at sound, a lot of people are making different kinds of cases for different movies. I think Dune Part 2 is going to get it, but I think also like Wicked could sneak in and get it. Sometimes they like to give like musicals or music movies the win, so you could see maybe a Complete Unknown coming in and snatching it up, or a Wild Robot would actually be a really cool win, because I think didn't they have like real animal sounds and stuff like that and whatnot. I feel like that was a really good sound movie as well. But Dune Part 2 is just kind of like on a whole other level with its sound and stuff, using the voice and all that. And the first one won sound, I believe. So I feel like that's gonna win, but I would love to see like a Wicked upset. I think that would be really cool. Um, Visual effects, I think this is gonna be Dune Part 2. I think this is gonna be the other one that Dune wins. Although it would be cool to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes get in there, or even Wicked would be kind of cool to get in there if they decide to vary it up a little bit. I've heard Better Man has great VFX too, and I know Alien Romulus does. So I'd love to see those two win. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be Dune, Planet of the Apes, or Wicked. But I'm pretty sure Dune's going to take it away. That's going to be what I'm predicting. Although my favorite would be Wicked. For original screenplay, I think Anora's going to take this, just basically because it's the Best Picture frontrunner. So I think that's going to take it. But the other ones are actually really great. The Substance won screenplay awards before. September 5 is a really sharp written movie. A Real Pain is like a really great screenplay. Um, and The Brutalist is so well written too. But with A Real Pain and September 5, they aren't Best Picture nominees, so I just don't know if they really have like that much of a shot to win. The Substance is a little more divisive than I think a lot of people think. And The Brutalist, yeah, I don't know, I just don't see that one. I think it's more of like people will talk about it as more of like a technical achievement than its writing. Even though I think its writing is pretty great, I think Honor is going to take this one. I don't really think it has much competition. Maybe A Real Pain, just for the power of that screenplay. And if we go to adapted screenplay, it's Conclave. Conclave is going to win that because it's a Best Picture nominee, and people just talk about just how sharp and how awesome that screenplay actually is. The rest I think are good. I think Amelia Perez is well written, at least I do, but not a lot of people like that movie. Nickel Boys is really interesting and how it's screenplay. I don't know like how much the screenplay factors in all of like the visual inventive shots that it does, but if it like lays all that out, then I think that's really cool. Sing Sing is just it's about writing, it's about putting on a play and performance and scripts and stuff like that. So I think Sing Sing would be a really cool choice. And A Complete Unknown, I really liked. I thought the writing in that was pretty great. But yeah, Conclave is going to win. It's a lock. So nothing else is going to take that. Now, film editing, I think could go. This one's really tough. The favorite is Conclave, I believe, for film editing. You could see maybe Anora getting it, but think people have complained about Anora's length. The same with The Brutalist, saying that There's things that could have been cut out, and that I don't think like length is the end all be all of writing or film editing. I think it's like, the pacing and stuff like that. And I don't think really, The Brutalist and Nora both feel pretty well paced. Um, but I just don't know if those are like the favorites to win. Still think Conclave is, because people talk about just how sharp it is and how tight it is, and just gets the job done. Mila Perez is just not, it's got crazy wild editing, which I think is really cool and fun, but like, just it's not like a favorite for a lot of people. Um, so I just don't think that's gonna win. And then Wicked, I think, is a really cool nominee because of how they have to just edit around all of the songs and just edit the choreography together and just all that stuff. I just think that Wicked is just a really well edited movie. I'd love to see that win. That actually might be my favorite. That or Anora. But I think Conclave is going to take this one, and I'm not mad at it. I like Conclave. All right, so now we're going to go through the short films before we get into Best Picture, because I've only seen a few of the short films, so I'm just gonna kind of, it's like every single video people are saying I haven't seen many of these, so I'm just gonna guess. And I think that's the thing. I think like the top three for animated short film are Magic Candies, Wander to Wonder, and Yuck. I've heard Yuck is really sweet, so I'm just gonna predict that, but I think it could be Wander to Wonder. I feel like people have been really interested in that one, but I'll go Yuck personally here. For documentary short, I saw I Am Ready Warden. I thought that was really powerful and really interesting and like really maddening and sad and just all these different things, really impactful. But I'm not sure if like that or the other one, Incident, which is apparently also very impactful, but like maddening and just angering. I don't know if either of those are going to be like picked because of that, because they can make people feel like different. I think The Only Girl in the Orchestra is going to win because I've heard it's just, of all the nominees, just, more of a soft, nice movie that, don't, it doesn't like make you angry or sad or whatever. So I feel like that's going to win that one. If we look at live action short film, I don't have too much to go on, except I have seen Alien, Aline, and I found that one really impactful, dealing with stuff at the border and trying to get green cards and stuff like that. And it was a really tense and really sad and maddening as well. So I think that one might win just because of how impactful it is, but I haven't seen any of the other ones. So it could be The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent. I actually really want to see that one, but I'm gonna go with Alien and see how that goes. I don't have too much to go on with this one. For directing, I think it's going to be Anora, just or Sean Baker for Anora, just because he had won all, I think, all of the guilds, which is really impressive history for him. For a while, it was Brady Corbet was going to win, and then it shifted to Sean Baker as the favorite because of a lot of wins in his favor. Plus, I think Anora's going to win Best Picture, so I think that just right there goes as a win for Sean Baker. I think everyone else in the category is great. Like Corley Farge is a great nomination. I don't think anyone's going to win but Sean Baker. As far as Best Picture goes, there's a lot of really great ones. I don't want to go into my favorites just because I do my favorite ranking over on I might go more in depth on my own on this channel, but over at the Dill Pickle Movie Network, my buddy Dylan Randazzo's channel, I do a show called Picture This, where we talk Oscars and we go through every year of the Oscars each month, to basically talk about all the nominees and rank them and stuff like that. We're doing the same thing there on that channel with these 2024 movies. Very soon it'll drop sometime in March, and so I'm not going to go through my favorites, but I'm pretty sure Anora is going to win this. Right now, it seems to be down between Anora and Conclave based on their history of wins and just things they were able to accomplish prior to the Oscars and prior to Oscar voting closing. So I think Anora is going to pull this one out. A lot of people are wondering if Conclave could pull the upset or if that's even an upset. But it's really kind of down between there. I would say it's maybe like 70-30 a Nora conclave kind of a deal. I don't have any real reason to come up with those numbers. That's just kind of like how I'm feeling. So I think Anora's going to win Best Picture, and I'm happy for it. I really love Anora. Those were my predictions for the 2025 Oscars for films released in 2024. I could be way wrong. I could be dead on some of these. Some of these are so close that it's just going to come down to a coin flip at the very end of the day when they're busting out those envelopes and saying some names. So just have to see how it shakes out. I'm excited. It's going to be one hell of a show, and I hope to revisit after we know who wins. Thanks for watching.